For today's video, obviously I'm not gonna review anything because honestly there's really nothing to review. So today's video is gonna be more like just random. I guess you could categorize it as yapping nonsense, but the reason I got up and want to make this video is because I wanted to answer one question, and to me I just didn't need like a straight answer yet, and that is, why do we feel such a nostalgia for 2016? And there's, mixed answers, but from my perspective, one obviously is because, we're pretty much still in high school, we're younger, still in high school, we're still naive to the world. And I felt like we could like literally do anything because our only worry at that time was school. And honestly, I'm talking about myself because we're not 25. When it was back in 2016, I think I was still a sophomore. So yeah, we were still young. But the second part of the answer is that honestly, I think a big part of it was because of politics was such a huge discussion. Because I just saw a video on TikTok, and it was saying like, being a conservative in 2016 or in 2026, and you can probably already guess the satire of like, oh, because you're a conservative, liberals will say, oh, these nasty things like, you don't deserve to live, your family, blah blah, whatever your satire. But I went to the comments and I read some, and a lot of those were like, this happens to me on a regular basis, like in high school. And honestly, I was surprised. Well, I wasn't really surprised, but for a moment, I went back in time in my mind to when I was in high school, sophomore, I think. Like I said, 2016, and no one really talked about politics. If they did, they were like considered nerds, very intellectual. And yeah, I think at that time, if you weren't into politics and you were in high school, it was viewed as like you were a nerd, and like no one really talked about politics. So I think that's what happened now, that like politics is not such a huge thing of our lives. Like I said, there's satire videos. I know it's funny to laugh, but like I said, when you go into the comments and you actually see people be like, yeah, this always happens to me in high school. And, they kind of treat it as normal, which it shouldn't be. And I don't know, to me it just paints a certain picture of the world that like, we'll never get that time back of like simplicity. Because, yeah, we might, I don't know, I guess I'm not really the person to say which view is right, or liberal, conservative, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't really matter as long as, like, the person, now, because you're turned political, now it's like I feel like it's normalized. Like, oh, let me just get to know this person's position, and then based on that, I'll choose if I wanna continue my conversation with this guy or even talk with this person. And I don't know, I feel like that's so out of touch. Like to just judge someone just because they're, not, well, I guess in a way different. No one, and it's such a small difference. It's not like something like we're different people. Like no, we are the same species. We're both human. We're just humans with different mindsets, and I think that's what's kind of happening um, with like more people being more conscious of like politics, like people having greater stances on politics, which I'm not a huge fan of. Like, honestly, I miss the times when like you could socialize with someone, and, like politics was like never brought up unless like of course the other person brought it up. It was never brought up, and it's kind of sad seeing that now as a grown up, seeing that happen in like the younger society, like seeing it in high school or hearing about it, and oh, I can only imagine middle school because that's when like uh, because that's when like they're very vulnerable, whatever. And then elementary school, that's you know, I know nothing should happen, or if it does happen, it's very rarely between students in elementary school. But I feel like the parents are like a big part of it, like um, like I feel like to the point like where they want to actually know like okay, I want to know all the political stances of the parents of the friends that you associate in school, and I want to know the position of the teacher, and like I don't know, even if one of those people have a slightly different view of from you, they're like, oh yeah, don't socialize with this person. And I don't know, I feel like that's, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself, but it is kind of sad looking back on it because now we're old. I'm like, 24, and, as a person who grew up from the generation of like, we never once talked about politics, and then all of a sudden now, in the year 2026, all of a sudden politics are such a huge part of our life. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, because of politics, all these bad things happen across our nation, like school shootings, assassinations, vandalism, um, violent riots, like all these violent things are done in the name of politics. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of clarify that, like, now seeing as like a grown up, like 2025, because I am gonna turn 25 like April. But yeah, seeing that as someone that's like outgrown, that's kind of happening in like the younger generation. It kind of sucks, cause like I said, they're never gonna be able to experience that level of freedom that we had as children. And honestly, I had this talk with my parent, but it kind of like makes me worried, like in the future if I have a child or if I plan to have a family. Like I've seriously considered like, okay, what if like I just go back to my home country? Like obviously I was born in America, but I'm saying like my parents' home country, cause I was like raised with their um their customs. So for me, it would. I seriously thought like if I'm gonna have a child or family, like I might as well have one in like my home country because honestly, lately, like in America, it's just been way too dangerous. Like politically, like, I can't imagine like if I had a kid, they go to school, and then let's say one of their parents find out that I'm, let's say, Republican, because that's not very popular. Imagine all the problems my supposed child would go through, like the bullying, name calling, and then they're probably gonna be picked on by the teachers because the teachers, if I had to guess, are most likely gonna be liberals. So they're gonna be like, "Oh, your dad's a Republican. Not a very smart guy," and in turn, you're probably not a smart child, and your mom is probably not a smart lady because she married Republican, supposedly. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to make this video kind of aired out. Like, this whole political thing has gone way too far. Um, even with the recent thing with the whole Charlie Kirk thing that happened in September, which R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. I know it was funny to meme on him in the beginning, which I was one of the people I found it hilarious. But then I feel like over time, it, it just became very unfunny. Not just at this point, just let the man rest, like, yeah, probably like the first month was like kind of funny, but like now it just kind of feels like forcing it. And like, I feel like now if you're kind of making fun of Charlie Kirk, in the sense you're kind of making fun of like, you're just kind of like dragging the whole joke, and then it just becomes unfunny. So yeah, yeah, this whole politics, especially like after 2023, has something else. I just kind of wanted to say that. I think I'm just gonna end it here. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.